るでしょうと言いつつ、
ミッドナイトじゃない、
どこがミッドナイトやねんというね
前回も言ったような気がする
天丼でございますけども今日はですね、
はい、
6月の
ね
中頃の
はい
早朝ということで、
そうですございます。
なぜこれ早朝に撮ってるかというと、
いや本当だよ、
再びデントメイ君にインタビューをすることが叶いました、素晴らしいですね、今日はですね、ブレックファスト with デントメイと題して、この新しいアルバム、What's for Breakfast、素晴らしいアルバムです。これも本当に前回とまた打って変わって、で結構さ、レイトチェックアウト、前作から変わった部分もあって、
いやーかなり、僕はバージョンアップしてると思いますね。最高傑作じゃないかな。そう、でもそれどういうね、その心境の変化とかコンセプトの変化があったのかなっていうのを今日は聞けたらなと。 はい、ヘアスタイルもすっかりね変わりまして、
なぜだったのか、
なんといろいろね聞きたいこと盛りだくさんですから、はい、
朝食を食べながらぜひご覧いただければと思います。
はい。
よかった。
よかった。
Vanderbeek.
Yeah.
What was that?
Hello.
Just saw Vanderbeek.
バンダービークの写真はエディターの。
The Vanderbeek picture.
I look like him, right?
Yeah.
似てません僕彼に。
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
My glasses off, you know.
メガネ取ってみたら似てますよね。
ああ、
本当だ。
本当だ。
いいじゃん。
かっこいいな。
You're really cool.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you're really cool. All of you are really cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
じゃあ、
はい。Okay. So, shall we start?
Yes.
Okay. For the first question, considering the title of the album, it reminds us Art Garfunkel's like Fate of the Breakfast, but is this intentional? What was on your mind when you were creating this album?
Wait, say that one more time. It reminds you of what?
Art Garfunkel's Fate for Breakfast.
I don't know about that.
This one.
知らないそうです。
Oh, yeah.
You don't know.
Okay, this is funny because I've never listened to that album, but my friend Harry, who made the album cover, pulled that as a reference for the album cover.
あ、そうだったんだ。なるほどね。
Yeah, so it was not an inspiration for the title, but it ended up in there somewhere. But yeah, honestly, the title is just one of those random phrases that popped into my head and was like, that's a cool phrase. It is something I say to my girlfriend a lot in the morning. What's for breakfast? In kind of a goofy voice. And it's sort of an inside joke. Yeah, it's really stupid, but for me, it's come to mean like keep on going. Like every morning, you know, you eat breakfast and you continue your life in the face of good or bad or whatever's happening, you know.
Do you eat breakfast at 9:27 all the time?
Not every day. No, not every day.
そうだよね。
So, what made you change your hairstyle?
Yeah, I guess we call it a midlife crisis. That's when I grew my hair out. The long hair that I had, that was my midlife crisis where I was like, oh, I'm not cool or edgy enough. I gotta have long hair and be cool. I don't know. Also, I grew my hair out in kind of the pandemic, you know, and I always had hair like this my whole life, and then just I briefly had long hair for like 2 years, and I decided this is me, you know.
確かに。そうだ。
So, in your previous album, you felt more of a soul music influence, like funky stuff. But for this album, we say it was very folky. Does your music preference or musical concept change since the last album?
I wouldn't say like my preferences have changed. It's just that sometimes I find myself exploring certain sounds and types of music that maybe I used to like it, or maybe it's new to me, and then I get excited to kind of explore in that direction more than another direction. So like I'm still constantly listening to soul music or funk music or all kinds of music, but with What's for Breakfast, I found myself like returning to I mean, honestly, like pop rock, 90s pop rock music, like Weezer Blue Album and things I listened to when I was a teenager for some of the like more guitar oriented songs. And Elephant Six Collective is some from Athens, Georgia, from the Olivia Tremor Control and Apples in Stereo and stuff like that. But I like everything, and I'm always just exploring, and it just happens. I don't really think about it too much.
意外、エレファント6とか。エレファント6。
So that was kind of an unexpected answer.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I also think that sometimes I say like, I'm going to make an Elephant Six sounding song or album, and then it doesn't end up sounding like that. It's just some sort of inspiration or jump off point, the energy behind it. It's more like the energy behind the Elephant Six Collective, the freedom of creativity I find inspirational rather than this music ending up sounding exactly like that.
So talking about the folk and acoustic guitar, it reminds us Ned Doheny's Hard Candies vibe. There was a photo with Paul Cherry and Ned Doheny at Honeymoon Suite Studio on Instagram, but did you actually happen to be there? I know you're close to Paul Cherry, but you're friend with Ned Doheny. But are you a friend with Ned Doheny too?
I never met Ned Doheny, unfortunately. Yeah, Ned Doheny came to my studio twice to work with Paul Cherry and our friend, I call him Snoops. His name is Blake, and he plays in Duran Jones and the Indications. And he works for Numero Group, and he's the Numero Group? Yeah, I think. And he's the one that made the connection with Paul and Ned. And they had a couple, I don't know, they made some music, and I don't know that they ever finished it at my studio. I would love to meet him, but I did not meet Ned. I love Ned Doheny though. Paul Cherry and this other guy I mentioned, Blake, aka Snoobs, who is in Duran Jones, and they're old friends, I think, from Chicago, I think. So yeah, it's just one of those connections. I don't know.
So we love Crying Laughing you released in 2022. But you thought about making album with Crying Laughing concept. It was more of a late checkout vibe.
Yeah. I don't know. It's that's just one of those things where I just made a song, and I didn't have enough songs for a full album. And honestly, at the time I was doing a tour with Pearl and the Oysters, because Late Checkout came out in 2020 during the pandemic, so I didn't get to tour or play concerts. So 2 years later, I have this tour, and I kind of thought, oh, I should release a single before the tour. So I don't know. I do like the sound of Crying Laughing, and I like that song, but it was just kind of a one-off song I released.
あの曲大好き。
Yeah, good song ね。
That's your favorite song.
Laughing?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I have this song with Jordana, Coasting on Fumes, on the new album, and she told me that Crying Laughing was her #1 song on Spotify of 2022.
Yeah, we think so.
7インチで出してほしい。
You used like many strings in the previous album, but for this time, we were impressed by the synthesizer counter melody, and that makes the whole arrangement simpler in a good way, we think. Which means synthesizers sounded better than your last album, but did you have any concept or goal of making synthesizers sounds better for this album?
I think so. I mean, I definitely had a goal of not using real strings or horns, even though I ended up having one trumpet part on one of the songs. But yeah, I think every album I try to make it more and more simple. And even though I wouldn't say my music is minimal, it's pretty maximal. There's a lot of arrangements going on, but I think I wanted to pare it down and use, like you said, use synthesizers instead of strings. It has a little bit of a cleaner sound and a little bit more of a modern sound. Late Checkout felt very like this is only in the 70s world. And I want something that takes place in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2024 world, and so that is why I like to mix sounds from different eras a little bit. Yeah.
When you recorded Late Checkout, you said you upgraded some of the equipment in a honeymoon suite, but do you think the upgrade of equipment brought some kind of changes in this album? Do you purchase any equipment for this record?
Yeah, I got a new microphone, a very nice Heiserman. It's their take on a U47. It's a very nice handmade. It's a handmade version of a U47 made in North Carolina in the United States, and it's a super nice microphone. That, you know, it wasn't new to me, but like many of the synthesizer sounds are the Yamaha CS Mini. It's a little white miniature keyboard. It's just really cheap and easy to use. It's almost like a little miniature Juno 106 or something. And then we also got, I think it's called the Oberheim OB8X or something like that. It's the newest like Oberheim. So that's on there some. I mean, we're always like, I feel like equipment is always coming in and out of Honeymoon Suite for various reasons. People sell things and buy new things. But in general, I think that having Honeymoon Suite from Late Checkout on, more so than the sound of the album, is more of like the space itself is a great place to write songs with other people, you know? So I have more collaborations now, not just with Jordana Pearl and the Oysters, but Paul Cherry wrote 3 songs, Jimmy Whispers, and then I Dress, other people I've collaborated with. The studio Honeymoon Suite is just a great space to work with other people. And the equipment's cool, but you can make great music with cheap gear. Obviously. I do think that for me, acoustics and microphone choice is pretty much it, you know?
So the lead single, One Call, That's All, is a power pop. And for us, you're playing power pop with a new thing. We felt like this song has a similar feeling to I Dress Is Something About You and Sunset Roller Coaster recorded in Honeymoon Suite. You're working with many musicians now, but do you feel like you're influenced by musicians you're working with?
I do so, but I think more so than the sound of their music, kind of like what I said earlier, it's their energy. Like I Dress's energy is really inspiring. He works really hard. I think I have more of a filter and I second guess what I'm doing more than he does. He just like creates and he makes tons of music and just lets it loose. That's, you know, and that inspires me. I obviously love the sound of his music too, but like that is the thing I find the most inspiring about him. And as far as One Call That's All goes, to me, I found it to be returning to the music that I liked when I was in high school, like The Strokes, Weezer Blue Album, 70s power pop like the Raspberries, maybe some Elvis Costello, the Cars. I mean, it's funny because my high school band was a power pop band with and it's called the Rockwells, and you can actually find it on Spotify. I don't know. I don't know if I should tell you that or not. I don't know if I should admit that or not, but so it actually felt like returning to the music that I listened to when I was younger.
そうなんだね。
Drew Vanderberg mixed the album and Dave Coulier mastered again. So what made you work with these 2 guys again, and what aspect do you find appealing? And I think Dave Coulier is mixing many works from Stone Throw, but is this connection somewhat related?
Well, first of all, Drew Vandenberg, he has mixed 5 out of my 6 albums. He was suggested to me on my Do Things album by Todd, the owner of Car Park, because Drew Vandenberg mixed a Toro y Moi album, and Toro y Moi was on Car Park at the time. And then since then, Drew and I have just become very good friends, and we've worked together so many times that I just feel like he understands what I like and what I'm going for. And over the years, our sensibilities and our understanding and our skills even have like grown together in a way. And Dave Cooley, I don't remember where I heard about him. I honestly think I was just exploring people who have mastered albums I like, and also local Los Angeles people and stuff. And definitely the Stones Throw stuff, but also there's a lot of Light in the Attic reissue type stuff. So he's remastered a lot of old 70s albums and compilations on labels like Light in the Attic. And I just love how those sound. So I thought that he would understand. I mean, for me, it's a pet peeve when mastering is too modern, aggressively compressed, and loud. And I wanted something mellow, a mellow mastering that feels very natural and breathes. And I think Dave is really good at that sound.
Okay, so you said Andy Gibbs, shadow dancing, and Gilbert O'Sullivan himself became inspiration of late checkout. But do you have any specific inspiration on this album?
I mean, like I said, there was like the 90s pop rock that I already mentioned, like Weezer Blue Album. I think like the song You Already Know with like the distorted chords and Heaven on Wheels. I mean, that song actually was inspired. I probably shouldn't say it because it's too close, but that song was actually inspired by an Elephant Six band. And I will let you do your own research and try to figure out which song I ripped off for Heaven on Wheels. But yeah, I mean, I kind of already mentioned those influences. I'm trying to think of some other examples. I don't know. I'm always listening to lots of music, so I think it always just kind of comes together in a way. Yeah.
Okay, for the lyrics, where did you get inspiration from?
That's a really difficult question to answer because it's just kind of my life and ideas that pop into my head. I mean, I keep a long list of potential song titles on my phone and sometimes in notebooks, and I don't know. I honestly can't say where the lyrics come from or what inspires them. I will say I usually start with the title of a song. So I had, for example, One Call That's All. That is inspired by a lawyer that had billboards and commercials on television as a child that said one call, that's all. And his name was Richard Schwartz. That's in Mississippi. There's other lawyers that have the same commercial or the same slogan, so I've heard. And that's just one of those things. I had wrote down one call, that's all. That would be a great title for a song. And then the song just kind of writes itself from there, honestly. It feels like sometimes, or you already know what time it is. That's actually just something I say to my girlfriend all the time. I'm like, you already know what time it is, and that was actually from like rap songs on like SoundCloud or like mixtapes from like 90s and 2000s rap. There would be this guy screaming at the beginning of the song saying, you already know what time it is. And so it's just like a phrase it's a phrase that I had, and then somehow it turns into something, and I have no idea how it happens.
There is a movie title called Cactus Flowers in it, but did you watch the movie and do you like it?
Yes, I like the movie. I mean, I would say the movie has nothing to do with the song. Maybe there's a little bit of like the emotion I felt from the movie is slightly channeled into the song, but it's more of just like, I love that phrase. I mean, there is the idea of, and I don't even know if this is scientifically true, that a cactus flower could wait years or decades or like 100 years to bloom. So it's kind of about being a late bloomer and waiting for something to happen, waiting for life, waiting for to bloom. And I think that was sort of part of the idea of the movie, is that it's like she's a late bloomer maybe, and yeah, it's kind of about that idea that a cactus flower might just sit waiting to bloom for 50 years or something like that, and then finally it gets its chance to bloom. I don't know.
So now looking at the clock, it's 9:27, so we should eat breakfast.
We should do. Oh yeah,
Well,
exactly.
in Japan, it's 9:27, so we eat breakfast. Look at the clock.
On the clock on the cover? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually funny because Harry, the designer, texted me, what time should the clock be? And I don't remember how we came up with it. I think we just thought that it looked better, that it was the right angles for it. There you go. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Scrambled our eggs, sunny side up eggs.
So this interview is supposed to be 30 minutes, but do you think we can have 10 minutes late checkout?
Yes.
An extra time?
Yes.
大丈夫だそうです。
And
Late checkout OK です。So please introduce us the band member of the What's for Breakfast. Riley Gear's Instagram is just amazing, and so is his drumming.
Yeah.
How did you meet him?
It's funny because I don't think he even remembers meeting me, but I met him briefly when he was playing drums in a band called Unknown Mortal Orchestra. And I've been friends with that band for a long time. And I was at a music festival they were playing, and I said hey to Riley briefly, but yeah, we actually just met through mutual friends in Los Angeles, probably around 2020 or 2021. We started just hanging out and seeing each other around town. And yeah, I had Ben Varian, who has played in my live band in the past, and Pearl and the Oysters and some other bands. He played on some of the songs on What's for Breakfast, but then he left town to go on tour for a month. So I called Riley to play. They're both great drummers. Yeah.
Okay, so I thought you introduced us Pearl and Oyster when we talked last time, and we're happy to inform you that they're popular in Japan. So would you please let us know and tell us your favorite and recommended musician in LA right now?
Ooh.
So our eyes are on Joy Joy Michael plus AM Sun's different attitude right now.
Yes.
We love him. Yeah.
Adam Paulson, who is AM's son, played guitar in my band on this last tour that I just finished, and is really great. Yeah, that would maybe be my pick too. I mean, she's already pretty well known, but I love Kate Bollinger. Yeah, Bollinger. And then actually, you may have already heard of this. She was living in Salt Lake City, but just recently moved to Los Angeles. Fontaine. Fonteyn. Fontaine. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff. There's too many to name. Last night, so my tour ended Saturday night in Los Angeles. I finally got home, and on Sunday, yesterday, I drove 2 hours to see Pearl and the Oysters at this cool place called Pappy and Harriet's in Pioneer Town, California, in the desert. And they have a band on tour opening for them right now called Teal Pop. And I thought that was very good. They put on a great show. I like them a lot. I feel like I'm forgetting some really cool stuff in LA. Yeah. I have somebody else. Do you know who Johnny Cosmo is?
Johnny Cosmo?
ジョニー・コズモって知ってますか？
JONNYKOSMO.
知らないな。
They don't know at all.
He's cool. I mean, he plays a lot of shows around LA, and I don't think he very rarely tours, but he always plays with a big band with horns, a horn section, and like percussionist, drummer, and he's a great showman, and it is very like kind of soul funk, but he's also really into like Grateful Dead, so it's got a little bit of a psychedelic soul funk thing. I don't know, it's cool. He's just a really cool guy, like and yeah.
So we'll definitely check him out.
Yeah.
Thank you. ありがとう。
ありがと
Now you have an authority to form your dream band. The member can be anybody. So who do you pick for like your dream band?
Oh no, this is so hard. Well, I'm actually trying to start a new band with some of my friends, but I can't tell you who yet. I also don't know if this will actually happen, or spoil the surprise, but I am trying to start a band with some of my friends whose music you probably know, and do a new project with them. But as far as my dream band, Ah, I have no idea.
OK。ありがとう。じゃあ、それをちょっと楽しみに、
楽しみに。
Do you know a drummer called Andres Strike?
Andres
Yes.
Andres, yeah.
Yeah, he plays on Late Checkout.
So, Yuya Shimizu personally preferred to put that drummer to your dream band.
Yes. Honestly, he's one of my favorite drummers and people ever. I definitely have a strong feeling that we'll be working together again in the future. He's great.
Do you happen to have any concepts for the next album already?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know yet, but I actually, part of me wants to make a very mellow album, like quieter, very chill, like mellow music, less like upbeat, like One Call That's All, like less like that, and more just like a quieter album. I don't know, but I've been listening to a little bit more like returning to like 1960s soft pop, psychedelic pop from the 60s. Like today I was listening to like The Left Bank and like the album Nancy and Lee with like Lee Hazelwood and Nancy Sinatra. And so I don't know. I think that one day, I mean, I don't think it will be this simple, but like one day I want to make an album that's just like a piano and me and like strings and like nothing else, or just like something really stripped down and like romantic and moody. But I don't, like I said earlier, like I always say these things and then I just make music that is just ends up being like what it is. Like it'll probably be just similar to everything else I do, but one day I want to make a really stripped down like romantic album.
楽しみ。めちゃくちゃそうですね。
サークル。
レフトバンク、サークル、ソフトポップな感じ。
楽しみにしてます。
Okay, so this has nothing to do with your album or anything, but our program, Midnight Rumble Show, have reached to 100th episode. So we introduced What's for Breakfast in our Sunshine Pop feature. So can we maybe have your congratulate comment to us?
Congratulations. Is that to you?
Yeah.
Yes, congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. Yeah, you guys are really cool.
Thank you.
I can tell you have great taste in music and you know a lot about music. And I'm really happy for you. Congratulations. Very cool.
Thank you. Thank you. めっちゃ嬉しいね。ありがとうございます。
So, okay, this is our last thing, but the biggest thing. Please come to Japan. But wait, are you actually coming to Japan with Idris or Fuji Rock this summer?
No, I'm not. I want to play Japan, but no one's ever asked me to play. So if you know any concert promoters that put concerts on in Japan, tell them to book me because I want to come, but no one's ever asked me to come before.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would probably say that like Japan is the #1 country that is at the top of my list that I want to visit. So yeah, and I've thought about it. I could even just come by myself and play solo concerts. That would be cheaper to save money on plane tickets for the band. And honestly, yeah, if anyone's listening right now in Japan that wants to book me a concert, I'll come.
バンドを集めますんで、俺たちは。
ギター1本で来てください。
That's a cool idea. I would love to come. I would love to come.
楽しみにしてます。宣伝を頑張りましょう、感じで。
ぜひ来てください。
もう来てもらえるように。
Okay.
待ってます。
みんな待ってるんで。
Let's go.
Hey.
Yes, the answer is yes.
Okay, so you said like your album start with hello and end with goodbye like all the time, but like for this album, we feel like 11th song was the finale of the album, and from the 12 songs, it's more of an encore, but this is intentional.
Yes. Yeah, I think that I was worried that it would be too similar to end the album with Singing for My Supper, as the last song, because I feel like I did a similar thing on Late Checkout and I don't want to do the same thing over and over again. So in my mind, it's like Singing for My Supper is the last song on the album, but then Let's Take It from the Top is the encore or something like that. And so it's like, oh, you kind of, if you were just listening, you might think the album's over. And it's also a different sounding song with the drum machine, the kind of R&B drum machine coming in. So I thought it would be cool to have that last as kind of a surprise. Plus, the lyrics say, let's take it from the top. So the instruction is to start the album over and just keep listening to the album over and over again.
Yeah, we felt like we were listening album over again. So like your message has reached to us.
Love to hear that.
よかった。
So that was our last question, and thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome, and thank you guys so much for your time. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks. Take care, and I'll see you in Japan.
Yeah.
All right, well, goodbye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you. 終わりました。
はい。いやー、どうでしたか。ねえ、久しぶりの
いやー、なんか
生デント。
ちょっと覚えててくれた感じもあったよね。
ありましたね。あの時の2人かと思った。
あんたの二人、またお前らか。
そう日本から唯一でしょ多分
いや、
ね。
唯一だと思いますよ。
インタビューしてるのね、リモートでね。
でもなんかその、来てほしいからさ、やっぱ日本に。
いや、もうぜひぜひ。
やっぱ僕の周りのミュージシャンもすごい好きな人多いし。
いや僕の音楽好きもそうですよ。みんな待ってますよ。
ね、サポートしてくれると思うから。
はい。
ぜひね、これご覧になってる方で、
そうなんですよ。
ブッキングの方とかいらっしゃったら、
あ、もうぜひぜひ。
はい。
本人待ってます。
本人は待ってますね。
待って、めちゃくちゃ行きたいっつ。
あと意外だったのがさ、90年代だったんだね、今作ってね。
いや、今回ね、ちょっとそういう新しいワードがいっぱい出てきて。
そう。ウィーザーのブルーアルバムって4回は言ってたと思う。
言ってたし、エレファント6って3回は言ってたよね。エレファント6とアップルインザステレオってそう来るかと。
来ないね。
ああいう DIY マインドってあるじゃないですか。デント君自分でスタジオ作ってね。やっぱあるんだなと、ベーシック。
なるほどね。あ、でもそれは本当にそうかも。
界隈の影響というかね。そこはなんか美しい話だった。
そうだね。ちょっと嬉しいね、なんかね。
いやいや、グッときました。はい。いや幅広いですね。ね、デントさん。い
や、でも本当その30分の予定のところ、10分ぐらいレートチェックアウトさせていただいて。
お約束だからね。本人が好きだから。
そうそう、好きだから。
レートチェックアウト。しなきゃ、
こっちもね。ぜひ何回でも見て楽しめるインタビューになったと思うので。
いや、だったと思います。はい。
ぜひね、What's for Breakfast の副読本として
ぜひぜひ
楽しんでいただければと思います。はい。というわけで、ミッドナイトランブショー、ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。